Kroenke, owner of Stan Kroenke, our owner. So he was there basically to apologise to us fans for Arsenal's part in the Super League. The reason why we're not happy is because not terribly. I didn't quite like his answers, if I was honest. He talked about kind of why they did this, and they said that they asked themselves two questions when they were invited into the Super League. One, is it worse to have a Super League, or is it worse to have a Super League without Arsenal in? That was one. And the other question was, what do fans want? And that's what really upset me, because they're asking themselves, what do fans want? But yet they're not talking or engaging to fans. Just doesn't make sense to me.
Well, I don't know. The problem they've got at Arsenal, I think there's only four, isn't there, at the board? I think it's
Correct.
Sam and his son Josh, and then it's Tim Lewis, who's a Kroenke lawyer, and then it's Lord Harris of Peckham. So there's four on it, so three of them really heavily linked to the Kroenkes. So basically their decision was final in all this, wasn't it? Did you get into that? Did you ask him about that?
Well, we went a different way. I said that clearly the board, which the apology statement was from the other day, was from the board. So I asked Josh, told Josh that clearly you're out of touch with the game. You don't understand us, don't understand fans. So it's either time to go and sell to someone who does understand and care about the club, or it's time to engage with the supporters at boardroom level. Get some supporters on there, because this week has shown you guys can't do it yourself. You do need fans to help you and advise you. So, he's committed to some sort of engagement. What was slightly amusing that he blamed the pandemic for the lack of engagement, but I mean, the Kroenkes have been involved with Arsenal 10 years. The pandemic hasn't been 10 years.
Have you not heard of Zoom?
Well, that was
everybody else does.
Well, my 85-year-old nan used to use Skype, so I mean, I think people can work it out. So that didn't quite that didn't go down well with me, because I think it was a pathetic excuse. But there was some commitment for engagement, so we are going to maybe invite them to one of our virtual events that we put on every month, and let's see if they're if they're going to do what they say.
I'm just reading some of your tweets, actually, that you've tweeted since you came out of that meeting. You mentioned there about he blamed not engaging with the fans on the pandemic. You also said, don't treat us like mugs, show us some respect. Was that the general feel in the room?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if one of the decisions that or the questions you're asking yourself is, what do the fans think before a major decision like that, then ask the fans, that the owners were willing to go into a competition which weakens the domestic competition. There's no sporting merit. It's a huge decision that would have changed football and would have changed our football club, Arsenal, and all the others as well. So, don't treat us like mugs. We're not stupid. Just be honest and say you don't really care what we think, and you're going to do what you want anyway. Be honest. And that was the frustration.
Just going back to that, did he actually use that as an excuse, but they didn't, as a club, want to get left behind if the Super League went ahead without Arsenal? Did he use that excuse? Did he use those words?
No, it wasn't maybe those words exactly, but it was we were told that it's like when a train is leaving and you sort of have to either decide, do you want to get left behind or do you actually want to take the train? So, they assure us they weren't one of the leaders in this whole kind of plan. So I don't know who they're blaming, but they're certainly, they're all friends a few days ago. Now they're blaming each other. But they said they weren't one of the leaders on it.
Did he seem embarrassed? Did he seem sympathetic, or did you just feel as though he was going through the motions with you?
It's hard to tell, because I mean, I'm sure he is embarrassed and ashamed, because he should be. They've hid since the announcement on Sunday. But it's hard to know, because we don't know him. We don't know our owner. We don't know what he's like. I've met Josh once before this, maybe twice at an AGM, but so I don't know what he's like. He could be a very good public speaker, but that's sad. The fact that we don't know our owner enough to know if he was genuine or not. He talks about rebuilding trust, and one of my fellow colleagues asked him, well, to rebuild trust, we would have had to trust you in the first place. Maybe I've paraphrased a bit, but we don't trust him, so we don't know what he's saying. Was that at face value or not? We don't know, but we'll be watching him over the next few weeks to see, does he actually mean it?
It seems to be the common thing, this try and rebuild trust, but it seems impossible. And I think Arsenal joined the likes of Liverpool and definitely Manchester United in trusting their owners. They seem to be the biggest problem in all of this. Those three owners seem to have never had that trust with the supporters. Do you feel that way?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, as I said, they've been involved 10 years, you know, as majority shareholder and then obviously the full kind of owner. And they, you know, why would we trust them? We haven't heard from them. We don't hear from them. Do they care? They don't care about us. We sense that. So, of course, absolutely agree with you. I mean, the one small thing that we really wanted to get is we wanted to make sure that any costs that are incurred here are not going to be put on Arsenal Football Club. That was one thing that he confirmed, that KSE will be, you know, basically paying for whatever needs to be paid for to get out of the contract which they're working on. So, I mean, that's a very small victory, but I mean, I would expect that. But it's nice to have it confirmed.
Akil, let me ask you, did he actually admit as to who made the decision in the first place? Did he actually maybe name a scapegoat? Did he even discuss the future of the club as to whether or not they would think about selling up after this or not selling up?
Yeah, he said the decision was made by the Arsenal board, and Goffey's already said who that board is, 4 of them. So that tells you, you know, who was involved, and the rest were maybe messengers. He has no interest to sell the club. That was I think the quote, that he has no interest to sell the club. He was asked that by myself. He was asked that by a few others, but he said he doesn't want to sort of, you know, interact or get into that dialogue because he doesn't want to sell.
And can I ask, did he say sorry?
He said he apologises. Yes, he did.
What did he say? What he apologises for?
For their part in the European Super League. So, yeah.
Well, not understanding the fans' passion and annoyance of all this. When it comes down to it, so what you're asking for and you're hoping moving forward to help Arsenal become a better club is communication between the supporters' trust and the club, whether that means representative on the board. Is that what you're asking for? And is that what you're hoping for? Because like I said, that 4-man board is a closed shop, isn't it? Let's be honest about it.
Absolutely. I mean, he's got 2 options. It's if he has no interest to sell, you know, many fans want him to sell, but if he's got no interest to sell, well, he needs some supporters at board reps, and that's just not one. That's a few, and they need to have a voice. That's one. If he doesn't want to do that, then he should be looking to sell the club. Of course, you know, there's no guarantee that the next owner is any better than this owner. So there is, you know, we are lobbying government. There's a report going on there that we hope that there'll be a little bit more governance there. You know, Germany have a model. It seems to work. They weren't in the European Super League. So there's a few things going on, but things have to change. It has to change. And we're going to use this as a bit of a catalyst.
Akil, just quickly, listen, thanks for coming on. Before I let you go, I'm sure a big part of today's meeting was to maybe win back the trust from the football fan or the Arsenal football fan. Do you trust your club?
No, not at all at the moment. And they know that because we told them. We don't trust, well, I personally don't trust Arsenal Football Club right now. They have to rebuild that trust.
Have you fallen out of love with them?
Yeah. You know, it would be easy to say yes, but we were there before them. It's our football club. We love our football club. We just don't love our owners.
Yeah.
And, you know, I sort of watched Mikel Arteta speak earlier, and I felt really sorry for him because they're his employers. It's really hard. But, I mean, at the end of the day, you know, Hector Bellerin tweeted about values and stuff like that. It wasn't the players, it wasn't the manager, so we have to support them because they are our team. We've got a Europa League semi-final, which ironically would have meant nothing if we had actually gone to the Super League. But we've got a European semi-final. We want to get back in the Champions League, whatever that means. So we've got to support the club, absolutely, but we don't need to support our owners.
Okay, and just ever so quickly, what's the next step? You may have mentioned it, if you have, I apologise, but what's the next step? Where do you go from here? Are you scheduled to meet up again with him?
Well, I made sure it was minuted. I made sure there's an action in that. We're not just, otherwise it's just words. So we will certainly be following up. We do want further meetings. We want to go into more detail, but we're also continuing the work in government to lobby. We'll certainly be making our voice heard.
Okay. Listen, thanks for coming on. Just remind people of your social media handle. I think that's what the kids say. People want to maybe follow you on social media or get more from you. How would they do that?
Yeah, you can follow the Arsenal Supporters Trust. That's AST_Arsenal. And if you follow the trust, you'll get everything.
Okay. Akil Weiss, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Well done, mate.
That was Akil
Well
Weiss.
done.